Welcome to another Excel Experts Live Challenge. We have a new guest here of Access Analytic, a training and consulting firm specializing in Excel and Power BI. And he's got this superb YouTube channel also called Access Analytic, and it's at 90,000 subscribers. Just 10,000 more to get him that silver play button. So please go and subscribe if you have not already. We are both Excel MVPs who were recently re-awarded, and Wyn is going. You should get your 9-year disc, right? 9 years. Yep. And I will get my. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's like I got lost. It's 8 or 9. I think I've got like a half in there.
Yeah, because they switched the program, and here's mine, and I keep it in this wrap because those discs fall off. But yeah, I will get my 10-year disc.
10. Wow.
Yes. Wyn is involved with starting the Unpivot podcast, and I listened to the first episode. There are 3 episodes in, and it stars Wyn Hopkins, our guest today, Sue Bays, Mark Proctor, and Giles Mall. And I want you to take this back to Sue, because I heard that conversation, and I would say, yes, she is a programmer. I heard that conversation. Yeah.
She is.
Yep. And
denying it, but she is.
Yes. No, she does. See, false modesty is not attractive.
Well, I think, no, Excel users don't think they're programmers, though.
Oh, now, I like that part of the conversation. Definitely. A lot of Excel users don't see themselves as programmers, but yes, we are, and we should embrace that. But Sue was talking about writing something in C++ and doing all this stuff, and say, "Oh no, I'm just a regular old person." No, she's not a regular old person. No. So I also want to say that when you had influence on this series, because I remember years ago, you used to do this thing where you would open up a file and clean it up, work on it live.
I did a couple of those. Yeah.
A couple of those. Yeah. And I appreciated those. And then I started thinking about, what does it take to get good in Excel? I'm constantly getting that question. And I thought about how a lot of us don't see how each other works. We get results, we see those, but we don't get to see the process. And so I thought about what you did and said, maybe this is worth doing a real series on.
Yeah, I like the concept. It's showing how people's, because as you've said in the past, I think on these, you often see on the YouTube videos the finished product, and people have, gone through all the glitches and how they've approached, but how you go through the process. And it's never as smooth sailing as the videos make it look. So
never.
It's good to see it actually done live.
Yes. And I've appreciated the folks who've come on and done it. And I'm trying to get more people involved because, I've learned some things. And I just hope that the audience continues to. And there was one exchange I had under, I think it was the last video, where somebody said that the stuff wasn't advanced. And he seemed to appreciate, when I said that it's not so much about advanced, it's more the thought process, truly. So whether it's about, go ahead.
I think it's as well, that thing of when you're watching in a relaxed environment, it's sort of, you go, oh, I do that, and that. But as soon as sort of like you've got somebody watching you trying to work, like if a client watches me trying to do a solution, awful, right? Awful. But give me a bit of thinking space, like 10 minutes of just empty space for my brain just to do 100 different things.
Yes.
And you can come up with a much better solution. So I'm going to be interested to see, how I go with this, because it's an interesting one when you're actually, somebody's watching you go through the thought process. It's a different environment. So yeah, it's quite cool.
do have the file. I emailed it to you, and you should not have opened it and taken a peek. All right, you weren't one a naughty boy on Christmas Eve looking under the couch, peeling open the presents. No, okay. Yeah, Wyn is on the good list. Or the nice list. There's naughty and nice. Okay. All right. So, all right, Wyn, we want you to talk us through your process.
Okay.
And now it's time to open the file and open your eardrum so we can walk right into your mind.
Let me see what evilness you have sent me here, Roz.
About evil.
You're trying to catch me out. What have we got? All right. So we're starting a club. I want to decide the colors for our logo and website. Okay. Top 4 colors. Okie dokie. So we've got some details about some people who have voted for colors. Okay. They're meant to have, I like the word supposed, which means it's not guaranteed. Okay. So they're supposed to have voted once, pick 3 colors and pick 3 different colors. Okay. So one person can't say, I like gold or I like silver, and they pick it 3 times. Cool. They were supposed to have been in order of preference. Most complied. And isn't this the thing in real life that if it was 100% right all the time, life would be easy? But it's all those exceptions that take all the effort. All the effort goes into handling these exceptions and allowing for the fact that people are going to do stuff in a way you didn't intend. So most complied, but a few just listed their 3 favorite colors. Okay, so they didn't do it in order. The only valid choices are available in the table. All right, so what have we got? So we've got these available colors, and we've got a person, and we've got their votes, okay, in terms of their colors. So I guess the question, so like Larry there has just picked 1. They're meant, how many have we got down here? Ooh, got a few. Okay, cool. So I guess I'm thinking, before I go back and reread the instructions, is there the risk that some of these aren't valid? So they pick colors that weren't available to them. And if they didn't pick them in order, is there any way of actually knowing that? Doesn't seem like. No.
Nope.
Okay.
We don't
So
know.
they were supposed to have, but.
They were supposed to have, but I've heard from, just a casual conversation, somebody said, oh, yeah, they just put down 3 colors. And, oh, okay. So I know 1 or 2 people out of the 90-ish didn't follow the instruction.
Right.
And we're not going back and trying to fix this.
So we're going to make the assumption then that, these vote 1s carry more weight than the vote 2s and the vote 3s.
That's how it's supposed to have gone.
Yeah, they may not have done it, but we can't help that if they didn't. We've got to assume that they did, I think. I don't think there's, unless we come up with some way of doing it. What was the other thing? So we got to do the top 4 colors. They should have picked 3 colors. So I guess if they picked the same color a couple of times, is their vote still valid? Or
I'm going to ask you to make a judgment call on that, because I just want to get the 4 colors.
Yeah, okay. So if they did pick the same color a couple of times, and I guess you can, with a smaller data set, you can eyeball it. But with a bigger data set, I'd have to do some sort of COUNTIFS formula. I might chuck that one in a second just to take a look at that. So this person's gone orange. Okay. So that might have to just be included once as their favorite, which then you make a call of whether you just make black the second favorite, which complicates stuff. All right. So it's not just about the number of times then that something's picked. It's also about that the actual ranking is the ranking important? Did we say order of... So, easier solution if we can just say it's purely a count thing. So, can we just purely do a count thing? Or do we need to do a weighting where we say, like, vote 1 gets 3 points, vote 2 gets 2 points, and vote 3 gets 1 point?
That's ideally how it was supposed to have gone.
Ideally? Okay. All right. So if we give vote 1s... All right. So where
you
do
get
we
to
then
pick the weights?
Go? Yeah, okay. So how important is vote 1? I'll go for a 3-2-1 weighting just to sort of go on that sort of basis. And what have we got? So we're going to have votes. We're going to have points against those votes. This available one, I'm just interested. Let me just insert a column here. I'm just going to count if any of these, I'm just going to check if any of these are invalid, just to see if is that a possibility that they picked an invalid or unavailable color?
Let's find out.
Okay. So let's, I'm going to turn this into a table. So Control T. If it's already a table? Oh, already a table. Cool, available. And I like adding this, just for people's benefit. I like adding my table name box into my quick access toolbar so that I can click on it and see it straight away. So the way I do that, table design, then over here, when you see the table name, right click, add to your quick access toolbar. And then rather than having to come up to this box each time, you can just go straight to your toolbar. And it's a nice way of just seeing, because that one's called votes. And this one is called available. And you can edit.
I didn't know that was possible. All right.
Yeah, so I like that. All right. So yeah, you threw me, Oz, because you always get rid of the filters, don't you? I get rid of the filter. Which is how I tell something is a table. So, all right, it's cool. It's a table. So we can just go equals, right, COUNTIFS, count how many times. And because of dynamic array Excel, we can go count how many times. Can I do this? Well, let's give it a go. Let's go down to there, which is votes. Okay. Appears in, and I can, what was it called? Available. There we go. Does this work? No idea. There we go. Does that give us anything? It's an array problems. So it doesn't really, it's not giving me what I expected. So I'm going to have to do it a column at a time. So COUNTIF votes, vote 1. And again, there's probably a way of doing this, but yellow. So I'm missing. Why is that? Okay, let me just copy the formula down. I was trying to be fancy. All right. COUNTIF. I'm going the wrong way around. That one, probably why it's not working. And this one. All right, sorry, I was going the wrong way around. Do my COUNTIFs back to front. Here we go. So we got a 0 there. Rose gold, okay, is not available. And nor is, so rose gold and those things aren't available, etc., etc. And we've got, it's okay, so rose gold is an invalid one. And actually, if I do it this way, can I actually do it properly this time? Just see if it will spill. I just did my COUNTIFs back to front. I can. I did my COUNTIFs the wrong way around. So that's the ballot column, which is obviously not what I'm interested in. But then this one, and you can do that sort of, to make it really obvious. Go down the bottom here and say home conditional formatting, highlight equal to the zeros just to make it really stand out.
Yeah, wow.
And you could even go this side and do a conditional formatting formula over here to save yourself some. Again, this is sort of, you can do lists and other things, but I could go over here, conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula. So I want the formula to go back at the top. So equals this cell equals 0. Get rid of the dollar signs so that it's sort of dynamic then. And if it equals 0, I want to make it light red or something. Click OK, and click OK. And now I can see over on this side where these are zeros. So cactus yellow, rose gold, blanks, and so on. Okay, so there are invalid things in there. It's just as a quick sense check to see where I'm at with the data. All right. So I think now I could go down. It's always a thing with me. I sort of like everything looks like our query problem, where it's not necessarily. But I am thinking if I unpivoted this to get all my votes, all my colors in one column. But the name of the people aren't really important either. It's just what's the colors.
Well, let's go back to the rules.
Or is there something?
Let's look.
Everybody was supposed to have voted just once. Gosh, Oz. Right. Okay. So we're going to assume, and again, if we just highlight this column, Control Spacebar, conditional formatting, highlight duplicate values. Okay. Who's the culprit? Glinda. Oh, 4 times. She was very keen. Right. So, okay. So the names are important. And again, it goes back to like, data integrity. Are we sure that if there's 2 Davids in there, are they the same David?
So in this case, everybody has a unique name.
Right, cool. So I'm thinking if I'm going to do this in a Power Query way, which is the first solution that pops into my brain, I am going to unpivot those vote columns, which will give me a column with the vote number, vote 1, vote 2, vote 3, and it will give me all the colors in another column. I can then say if it's vote 1, give it 3 points. If it's vote 2, give it 2 points. If it's vote 1, give it 1 point. I could then do a merge with this available table, only to keep the colors that exist in that available table. And then I can do a group by to sum the results, and then I could sort those results and keep the top 4. So that's my Power Query thoughts initially. Now, is there, and there's so many new solutions now that we've got dynamic array Excel and things like 2 rows and 2 columns and these other Excel formulas, that I'm wondering if I can do this purely with formulas, and which should be the solution, right? So that's like another question. Why not use Power Query and why use formulas? And the deal breaker would be if you need the formulas to update instantly when a color gets added or changed. Because with Power Query, you have to click refresh.
Right. And we have voted. We're done with this. I'm not talking with anybody else about they want to get their vote in. No, that was last Friday. It's over.
Right. So it's then a case of, do we go, I think if it's, given that I've got a pretty solid understanding of how to do it in Power Query to get the result, I then make the call, is it worth my time trying to come up with a different solution using purely formulas? The nerdiness in me likes that idea of just having a go with formulas and stuff, but I think the Power Query fan in me just wants to go Power Query, which might be like a bit, and you can do it either way. I think there's probably some ways of doing with a formula way, you can use something like, if I highlight this slot and clear, where's my cell styles button? You can do something like equals to_col, okay, for this list, but you do have to, oh, that's another question. So the person who voted 4 times, did they vote the same thing? Midnight blue, orange, let's just right click, filter by cell value. Okay, so they voted 4 times. Right, you're saying this is never going to get changed. Nobody's ever going to do anything to it more. We just want the answers from this.
Correct.
Right, so rather than doing anything fancy, I'm just deleting these rows. Okay, you can do remove duplicates as well. So I could go here, I could go table design, remove duplicates. And it's saying, do you want to remove where they all match? Which they do. So I can click OK. And now Glinda's back down to 1. So that's fixed up that issue. I don't have to worry about that anymore. If it's not if this was a repetitive process, I'd build that, clean up that remove duplicates into my sort of process, either in Power Query or in whatever formulas I'm going to do. So that's all cool. So that you could do something like to_col for this array, and ignore blanks. Yep, I want to ignore blanks. But doing all that, yeah, okay, I could do that. And then just, I can probably just go, so ignore blanks is a 1. So that's one single column. Then I got to do counts and other things. And the more I think about it this way, the more I'm thinking, it's a lot of effort when I think I know how to do it in Power Query. So I'm going to go down the Power Query path. Because you could do a, equals X match. Does this exist? Or does this hash exist in this table? Okay. And wherever you get the NAs, like the rose golds, you could then do a filter function to filter that out and do a bunch of things like that. Get the unique, get the counts. But I'm just going to go down the Excel. I'm going to go down my old friend, the Power Query path. Okay, so here we go.
So how are you gonna handle the illegal ballots? Like Larry with just midnight blue, and then we saw Glinda voted for orange twice.
So I guess with midnight blue, it's just gonna be, if they only voted for one thing, it's going to be 3 points for it. That's it, and the blanks just get filtered out. If somebody's voted for orange twice, then after I've unpivoted, I'm going to remove duplicates based on name and vote and the color. So somebody can't then have, a person's name cannot have the same color twice, then it'll just keep one instance of it.
Right.
I think I'm going to go down that path. Okay. And if I have my columns sorted, the rows sorted properly, it should, like if they put orange, it should keep the vote 2 version, the first occurrence. So yeah, let's go with that. Am I missing anything else? Pick 3 colors, pick 3 different ones to remove duplicates on the name. We're not caring about the order of preference. I'm going to rank it. All right, let's give this a go. So here we go. I've got a little ribbon set up with all my favorite little shortcuts. So I've got power ribbon. So from table / range. So anything you like, you can just go right click, customize the ribbon and build your own little ribbon and add your own buttons to it. So from Excel, there's the table name, from folder, recent sources, go into Power Query, all those sorts of things. Or if you're on here, right click, get data from table range, either way. Okay. So We've got that column. That's all good. We're just going to right click. Rather than manually doing that, remove duplicates using the table function, I could have just come in here and right clicked and remove duplicates. That would have done the same thing from an automated point of view. So I am going to right click and unpivot other columns. Best function ever.
Yes.
Okay, so here's here's my votes. Here's my labels. And I guess as well, you know, there might be stuff like people might have entered it in lowercase or uppercase. You might want to uppercase everything or trim everything to get rid of those spaces. All those little annoying things that might mean that, you know, stuff doesn't group together properly. Trims and uppercase, or if people have typed stuff in the wrong way round. It's always handling those. Again, that's more for a repeatable process. You've got to think about what might go wrong in the future. Somebody might put a space. Somebody might put a lowercase p for neon pink. So, you know, it might be worthwhile just uppercasing everything just so everything's standardized. Same thing with the names. You might want to trim and uppercase everything just so if it's been a free form input, it's always a good idea, I think, to do that sort of stuff. Okay, so we've got that. We're then saying if somebody's voted for the same color twice, and we did have an example, which was, who did that? Let me have a quick look back here. Who was it? Regina? No, who was the one that asked for the same color? Oh, further down the screen. That's right, I'll find them now.
Glinda had voted for
Glinda.
twice.
Thank you. There you go. So Glinda. So if I highlight those two columns, now this is sorted. Okay, I want to keep the vote 2 for Glinda. So Glinda is here, vote 2 and vote 3. So if I remove duplicates, it could be a bit random about which one. It should keep the first occurrence. So Power Query, though, sometimes does some weird things. It doesn't always sort stuff or keep the sort order correct. So just to be sure that it's keeping that sort order, I'm just going to temporarily add a little index column, which doesn't really do anything other than keeps this sort of sort column. It sometimes never causes an issue. But I found once in a while, when you're doing certain things in Power Query, it'll lose the sort order. It doesn't really care. So if the sort order is important, do the sort and then, you know, add an index column to lock it in. So with that and that one, right click, remove duplicates. And actually I've got 258 rows currently. So if I go remove duplicates, I've now got 252 rows. So, I wonder, is there a keep duplicates option? I do not know the answer.
Yes, there is a keep duplicates option.
Is there a keep
somewhere.
duplicates? Where is that? That's something I just suddenly thought. It'd be not quite nice to just check before you remove them to have a quick look where they are. Where keep duplicates. So under the Transform tab, now I thought the Transform tab had the Remove Duplicates button. I've never actually clicked on it on the menu. I've always used the right click. Fill pivot column. Is it under the Home tab? So keep rows. Oh, keep duplicates. Ooh, here we go. Right. Let's take a look. Never tried this before. So keep rows. Keep duplicates. There we go. So Glinda, vote 2 and 3 was orange. So we had Raphael. So 1, 2, 3, 4, Calvin. Calvin was all orange. Ah, okay. Rob was orange and orange. Ah, cool. All right. Yeah, so it sort of makes sense. So there's essentially 1, 2, 3, 4. So if there's 5 people, but there's a couple of double ups here. Yeah, around 6 being removed makes sense. So here we go. Let's go back. Right click, remove duplicates. Okay, so we've got that. And I don't need that index column anymore, so I can just remove it. Okay. Then I want to give points to these votes. So simple. There's only 3 points. So let's go. Oh, we could do this. We could either let's do a conditional column. There's a couple of ways of doing this. You could do replace values, like replace vote 1 with the number 3, replace, and then do 3 lots of replace. Or you could just do a little conditional column, which might be a bit more flexible, to be honest. So add custom column. It's just a fancy if statement, really. So let's call this score. And we'll go equals. Actually, let's do conditional column. It's easier. Let's go conditional column. And now sometimes when doing this, you get all the way to the end and you realize you haven't actually answered the question in the start, but I'm hoping I'm going down the right path here. So, if attribute equals vote 1, then 3 points. Else if attribute equals vote 2, then 2 points. And you can go, there's only 3, so you could go else 1 point. Really, you should be safe about it, to be honest, and probably be specific so that you don't get random. You know, in this scenario, it's not going to cause an issue. Else I'll just leave it blank. Okay, so there's my score. All good for every point or number. Okay, and I'm then going to do I still got to exclude the invalid ones, so that's still up there. I don't need the attribute column, but I'm just going to do what do I need to do? A group by those. Do I need the name anymore? Do I need a person's name? I've got rid of the duplicates. So there's only one valid one per person. Have I got any blanks in here? Nope, because I unpivoted. So unpivoting would have removed the blanks. Right. So that's fine. Do I need their name for anything? I don't think so. So I am just going to do a group by on this column then. So, so go group by, the value, and the new column is just going to be the sum of the score. Total score. Okay, so this is the color. And there's then rose gold, and mustard yellow. We know those aren't valid. Okay, so here we go then. We're just going to go close and load 2 and load this as a connection. I'm going to merge that other table in and only keep this available table and only keep the valid ones. So only create connection just to start with. Okay, over here from table / range. So this is then my available queries, available colors.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got the color column. We're going to do a merge queries. Oh, then I got to remember what type of merge to do. Available. So some sort of anti-join. Rows only in the second table. Yes. That's the one. I only want to keep rows that match those ones. So we should see rose gold and mustard yellow, I think, disappear using color. Now case sensitivity might be an issue here. Click OK. Yeah, no matches because I need to uppercase this one. Right click, transform uppercase. And right click, transform trim. Just in case there were some extra spaces typed in. Spaces are horrible. Okay. So wrong type of join. Wrong type of join. I've got the votes here. I've got the colors there. Merge queries. So do I just do all from first matching from second? All from second matching from first? I always get my joins mixed up. Because if I do this one, okay, which I can then just filter on. But if I go click on that one, expand this out. Oh, sorry, merge with the wrong query. So here we go. Merge queries with available using color and color. If I want only matching rows, inner join. Oh, joins. Inner joins are only the matching rows. Is that what I'm after? Inner join? Yes. Okay, inner join. So it's so mustard yellow's on the available one? Oh yeah, it was. Okay. So there's my 16 colors. And there's my
Cactus yellow is gone, right?
Oh, cactus yellow. Yeah. Cactus yellow, not mustard yellow. Yeah, so that's now gone when I've done the merge. So if I'm ever confused about the merges and stuff, you can always just do a normal merge. So go back here. I'll merge the queries. I'll do it with the available. And this is sometimes the way I do it. You just do a normal merge. Okay, and then you can expand out this. You'll just get nulls for the non-matches.
Yep.
And you can just right-click, text filter, does not equal. You can do it that way. It's a bit more, explicit as well.
Yeah.
But you can do that sort of, in a join. And then you can just right-click and remove this column. All right, so then if I sort this descending, and I keep the top 4 rows, in theory, that is the answer. So then I go close and load. I can't click close and load because I don't want to load this available table. So I'm going to load 2, and that's loaded. Oh, I've already loaded it. It's a connection only. All right, and then this result, this table here, load 2, table, just here, click OK. And in theory, that is your answer.
There it is.
Does that, and I would then try and sense check that just with some maybe some testing, changing some colors in here, and seeing what happens.
See what happens.
So, well, what I potentially do is, if you've got a massive data set, is you could just cut some of this stuff, okay? So, and you could even do that in your testing. You could just do, well, I'm only interested in maybe, let's see the top ones up here, okay? These top 4. So I could go back to my votes table, okay? And right at the start, I could go, before doing my unpivot, I could say keep rows. This is just for testing purposes. Keep top rows, insert a step, and I'm just going to keep the top 4, okay, to start with, and close and load. Okay, so out of the top 4 records, to make it easier, so I've got orange, yellow, sky blue, and indigo. So, you've got orange getting a point there, or 3 points there, plus that one, which is another point, so that's 4 points for orange. Okay, which gives us a score of 4. Great. Yeah, so that makes sense. And then yellow's getting a score of 2. Oh, sorry, score of 3, and there's no others, so that's getting 3. And the same with the other ones, there's no other duplicates. But if I add let's say somebody else votes for yellow, and again, you do this without saving the file. And then if you refresh this, in theory, yellow should become the top with 5 points. So the logic seems to hold. But if Dora picks, or Nitsa picks 3 oranges, it shouldn't suddenly make orange go to the top. Otherwise, my logic isn't right. Yeah. So we're just doing a little bit of sampling.
Right. Because we've got Nitsa's first orange, and then we've got Dora's orange in third place, and that gets us to 4.
Yeah.
Because it is now ignoring Nitsa's votes 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're doing a remove duplicates on Nitsa, so only Nitsa's orange counts. So the logic seems to hold in that sense. And then go back in and get rid of that, delete that step that does the testing. Cool.
And so we are back to our colors, and okay, there we are. Purple, neon pink, indigo, and orange. So now, can we check? We clipped it off at 4 rows. What was the 5th? Hopefully that wasn't another 45. I want to check to see if there was any ties for 4th.
Oh, right. Yes, valid point. Valid point.
I don't want to have somebody come back and say, what happened? I voted for mustard yellow, and then now I got a lawsuit and they're going to HR and stuff.
Okay, so interesting call. So let's say we wanted to do that.
Okay, so there was no tie.
That's an interesting one. If we did want to include ties. Okay, it's not as simple then as keeping the top. Can we? Now, I remember there was something about there being a new rank option. Where was that? Where was the rank? Wasn't there something that was that a Power BI Power Query? It's not in Excel yet. There was definitely some ranking function somewhere that could do.
I'm not aware of that in Power Query.
No. So can we just do number filters? So the long-winded way of doing it, I could filter and get the lowest value from the 4th column, and then reapply a filter that gets everything that matches that value. But that just seems a lot of overkill.
Right. And so it would be overkill in this situation. But what I'm thinking is, you could fish out that 45 and do a drill down and set it as a variable, and then, filter for anything that's greater than or equal to, maybe you'd call that threshold or minimum. Yeah. So that's doable. But the thing was to at least check to see if there had been a tie, and there was no tie, and these are our 4 colors. And that's the theme for our logo, website, pamphlets, uniforms, everything. It might be ugly, I don't know, but that's how we agreed to pick the colors.
That's what everyone agreed on.
And we got to live with it. Thank you for doing this. Yes.
Pleasure. That's a nice one. That's an interesting one. And it's,
what made it interesting for you?
I think it's just the thought process around, there's a few little catches in there. There's the duplicate names. There's the follow-up decisions around the sort of, how do you treat somebody who's voted for something 3 times? There's the thought process around what happens in the future if something's broken or not broken. And there's also part of me that wants to try and solve it in using just formulas, because I know a lot of the dynamic array stuff, is good at that. But I don't know if it's necessary for this. I think it's just, sometimes it's a case of go with what you know, because that's the most efficient. And you can, if you get the end result and it's something that's a one-off, you've always got to think about things, whether it's a one-off or a repeatable process, because I think there's a different approach then.
Exactly. There's definitely a different approach. And I appreciated you taking us through. You can see a path with Power Query, but then, why not explore group by and pivot by and all these other things to call? They're there.
Yeah.
But do you just move on and get it done, or do you explore? And there's time for exploring.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I have wasted many hours of my life doing something the long way to start with, but it's not wasted time, it's invested time in my mind. That time then is 5 minutes to do it the next time, or not to go down that path next time. Right. So if you never try different paths, you're never going to find the quickest route. If you always go down the same path every single time, so it's worth going down, hitting a dead end, going, I can't go that way, come back. Not to go down that road, but you may have found the best shortcut in the world, saving yourself 20 minutes a day. So sometimes it's just worth.
Yeah. Think about, me. I like driving, and I will go meander for hours and see interesting things along the way.
Yeah.
And I got to come back to this, and fiddling around in Power Query, and then seeing that's interesting. That like the add a column, with a plus sign, a minus sign, where you can just highlight, and then add a column, boom, hit the minus sign. Okay, I might not have needed it when I stumbled on it, but now I know it's there.
Yeah.
And I can come back to it.
Good challenges, Oz. How do you where do you think of them? What's the thought process behind coming up with them? It's just, are these some of these real life things inspired?
Real life inspired. And this was inspired by an event that I was recently at, and people had to vote for their favorite.
Right. Yeah.
And they got a ballot that had 3 on it. You can vote for your favorite in order. And then it came out that, oh my gosh, people didn't read the instructions. And a lot of people just put down the 3 that they remembered, no order. And so now the committee is sitting there, well, what do we do? And so they figured something out. And this was interesting because I've said for years that a lot of time the Excel pieces that you need are really simple, but you got to make a lot of judgment calls. You got to get definitions. You got to, like, for the person that voted 4 times, maybe you make a decision, just all 4 of them go away. The person who voted for 1 or 2 things, maybe just that's a spoiled ballot, no more. Or you do something else and decide the stakes as well. Are we deciding, just colors for a website, or are we deciding, well, who has to go deal with the kidnappers and take the bag of $50,000 to the corner? Now you got higher stakes, and you got to make some really clear decisions here.
Yeah, there's got to be clearly articulated business rules in there. What are the decisions that have been made to get to where you are?
Yeah,
so that people understand, what's led to those results.
Right. And I feel like it's for you specifically doing this. So if somebody comes back and says, how did you get to this? Because business rules are often vague, or there's some case that happens that is not covered by the rule. And I remember this one thing a vice president said is, we got to make a decision, even if the decision is to not make a decision. But we can't just keep going like this stuff didn't happen. Yeah. Yeah, because not everything is so clean, and that's kind of what I want to get at as well with this challenge, because my whole career has been just pulling up weird stuff. Yeah,
Yay.
go to do something that seems to be so clear, and then I go and say, "Did you notice Glenda voted 4 times?" "Oh no, I didn't notice that. Oh my God." And then I might have to ask them, what do we do about it? People writing in rose gold. What do we do with that? Do we add it to the available list, or what do we do?
Yeah. Yeah. I think for, consulting to clients and building solutions for clients, it is a very different thing to building your own stuff, because you've just got to be in their mind. You've got to know their level. Plus, you've got to handle all the crazy things. Well, not crazy, but just, unexpected things. Why would you do that? And then it's sort of, when they explain it, they go, oh, okay, that sort of makes sense, but I wasn't handling. So you got to try and handle for all these. And the more experience you get, the more of these things you just build in that seem a bit redundant, but you're just handling all those little traps that you learn with experience as you do more and more of this stuff. It's most of the work, honestly. It's handling all the unexpecteds and making stuff as robust as possible. Not really the solution itself, which you can probably knock up in 20 minutes if you were just doing it loosely. It's then another couple of hours of just making it robust and thinking about what could go wrong here.
Yep.
What could somebody break?
Yep. That's experience. Seeing a lot of stuff over a long period of time to where you can expect it and start to know where to look for funny stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And then building your solution in accordance. And then, if this was something real, then we might have to future-proof it somehow.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Future-proofing is the key to it.
Yeah, this is beautiful, man. I really, really appreciate this. So I guess we can wrap up unless you have anything else to say.
No, it's all good. I encourage people to watch Oz's channel. He inspired me to start on YouTube. So you guys are already watching, obviously, if you're seeing this. So
yeah.
Go watch.
And tell you have blown past me. I think I'm sitting at like 45,000, and you about to get that silver play button.
There's no skill involved. It's just the luck of the algorithms, I think.
Hey, I'm not complaining. I'm happy. No. I'm living a good life here.
And I think if let's just record videos of kittens looking cute, and we'll get even more likes and subscribers. So it's what's the aim of it. So it's all good. And the Unpivot podcast we'll be having you on as a guest, hopefully at some point, Oz.
Okay.
Will be
okay.
So
love to do it. Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. So this has been Wyn Hopkins from Access Analytic, the Unpivot podcast, and from Perth, Australia, home of Helvetica Bar. Thanks a lot, Wyn, for doing this.
Pleasure, Oz. Catch you next time.